Reddit, what is the biggest regret you have in life? My mother passed away when I was 8, cancer. It came to the point where death was inevitable. My dad asked if I wanted to see her, and I said no. I was painfully shy and awkward around strangers and the opposite sex when I was in elementary school and high school. I really presumed that I had few friends because I wasn't the kind of person other people liked. I also presumed my social awkwardness was inherent and something I was completely unable to overcome. I only found out that both of those are untrue when I was like 30. I kind of wish I had my teen years back so I could force myself out of that awkward shell and enjoy my youth a bit more. I'm 23, young enough to do what I want, but I've been thinking that since 18. I have nothing to show for those 5 years that flew by, and I had some huge aspirations that I was sure to have conquered by now. Fuck. I recently started over at 54, divorced, failed business, the whole works. 4 years later, I have found a wonderful partner and started another business, and I'm moving to rebuild what time I have left. You're never too old. Just fucking do what you have to do and don't let anyone be negative about it. Hanging out with a friend instead of visiting my father in the hospital. He died that night and I never got to say goodbye. Thank you guys for the kind words. I really appreciate them. My dad died almost 4 years ago, and I'm okay now. My mom had to fight depression, but she's a lot better now, too. I have a feeling that in 2014 is going to be a great year for me, and I wish that it would be the same for you guys. People like you are a huge part in what makes life worth living, no matter how hard it gets. Thanks for being awesome. I'm 31. My biggest regret saying yes to a marriage proposal when I was 23 that caused me to waste a good part of my 20s engaged to someone I knew wasn't a good match in the first place. I did this heavily because my family and outside pressure. Not paying enough attention in high school. I barely passed and didn't actually learn much of anything. Going to really regret that one. I've got plenty of regrets, but I'll show the most recent one. Not treating my girlfriend better. I see now that I didn't appreciate her enough. I really didn't trust her enough. There are so many times where I wish I could take back something, kept my trap shut, etc. I'm torturing myself. I go over and over in my head what I wish happened instead. I love her with all of my heart, and I still do, but she left me, and I'm a wreck right now. I'm extremely unhappy and wish so many things in my life were different. I don't know what to do, or rather, where to start. I wish I started caring about my weight sooner. I've lost some good people because they gave up on waiting around, and I don't blame them at all. If Coach would have put me in the fourth quarter, we'd have been state champions, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. I'm 35. I spent a latter part of my high school doing much partying and ended up selling drugs, which ended up derailing me from the plans of college and career. I ended up getting in trouble with the law and getting trapped in the system. I did 2 stints in prison as a result of my mistakes and have only been out in Wales since the end of 2009. Now I have to navigate a world with a criminal record which includes 2 drug felons. I never really thought about the consequences of my action while screwing up, and honestly was such a strange state that I didn't think about living long enough to deal with my mistakes. Now I'm in a good place in life with a wonderful wife whom I love more than anything. I have mended all of my bridges that I've burned during my madness. And life is good, but mistakes I've made when I was younger will never go away. Attempting to end myself. I don't talk about this much, but fuck it. Bear with me. This isn't an easy subject to discuss, so I'm probably about to do things English language that I'm not proud of. I'm not so interested in proofreading this, however, so let's go with it. I was going to post this on a thread someone just started a while ago, but I deleted it. I suppose it fits here too. The side effect is you guys get the long version. Sorry for the TLDR. Also, I'm 34. Trigger warning. This may not be easy for some of you to read. This is the first time I've ever opened up about any of this in public. Even my family isn't really aware of a lot of this, for reasons I'm sure you're about to understand. My first time in words was due to bullying. I was an awkward teenager, and I got a very Norwegian name that looks like someone ate a bunch of alphabet soup, shot diarrhea of it on a wall, and wrote down the result. I got messed up a bit as a result of both facts. Ended up being shuttled around between schools because I inevitably get kicked out of all the schools for fighting over it. After a certain point, I snapped, stalked around my high school breaking point, did a few ground worth of damage. If I had a gun, I would have been Columbine 5 years before Columbine. They had to call my parents and grab me. I was institutionalized for 6 months at 16 years of age. I put on a good face, did my time in the hospital, and finally got released. Then, 6 days later, I was in the ICU after a massive overdose of psych meds. I had to have my stomach pumped, got charcoal, and it was pretty close call. For the record, having charcoal pumped into your stomach through a tube in your nose isn't really a pleasant experience. I just got to the point where I felt like the cycle wouldn't end. I'd never graduate, I'd always be miserable, and I've started having unusual effects of PTSD, hallucinations, self destruction, thoughts of how terrible I was, scary rages that left me exhausted and cost me a lot of beloved possessions, panic attacks. After a few weeks, I got out of the ICU and back into the hospital. About a year later, give or take, I was finally out and sent from New York to Colorado to stay with my dad. If it's because the state said I had to, or if my mother couldn't take looking after me after that, I'll probably never really know. Fast forward to about 14 years, my marriage dissolved, and my PTSD is still untreated. I have been homeless off and on the entire time, scraping by with odd jobs and teaching MMA to keep myself alive. I kicked off a wicked drug habit that cultivated in a pretty sick heroin addiction. I didn't use needles, but I did use a ton of heroin and crack. It was bad. I did a lot of things I'm not proud of, and that weighs on you. I'm not really going to get into that part of my life except to say that if you get much farther than pot or maybe hallucinogenics, you're a fucking idiot. And they're exactly as right about it as they are wrong about pot. To make a long story short, I finally cut that stuff out of my life and moved back into with my parents to regain some semblance of normalcy. Had enough. Got a job, probably the best I've ever had to at that point. And then I lost it because of the stress of finally treating my disease. I spun out with PTSD. It was pretty tough to keep depression in check unless I've had some serious tools to control it. I started feeling the urge to pick up old habits, and again, just kind of felt like it was going to be more of the same, so I hit the point again, gave up, overdose. This one didn't end so badly. I was only in the hospital for about a month and actually got some skills to actually keep it in check. Since I traveled all over America, I started in Maine and found my way all the way out in Montana. Started writing, which worked out better than I expected, all things considered. But you know what? I can't say it really gets better. Things are stable, but medical care is expensive, and I'm still paying the bills for getting put back together again. My last attempt, probably 3 or 4 years ago, it left me with thousands in debt. But things are a bit different now. I've gotten so close to death that I could have had a nice chat with her. OD'd so badly that I lost control of my bodily functions and almost coded a few times. I know what it's like, and I know how bad of an idea it is. What people never tell you, and what I'm going to, is that when you're getting close, all you could think about is how much of a mistake you're making. It's painful, it's humiliating, and it's ugly. And I still flash back to being on the table and having my clothes cut off, vomiting charcoal, and later shitting it out in one painful break. They never talk about the look in your family's eyes. My mom came to see me in the hospital while they were putting me together. I'll never forget the look of fear in her eyes. Me stuck to a table covered in tubes and wires and beeping machines strapped down to prevent injuring myself in case I had a seizure. Black rock flowing down my throat, sweating and covered in crap, in more pain than I've ever experienced before and since. One lesson I did take away from this is exactly how mean and selfish the entire act is. What I never considered was exactly how bad it was going to hurt my family. That probably hurt me more than almost dying. I still have trouble forming relationships as a result. Moral of the story is, after having gone through it and a reoccurrence, I'm incredibly mellow now, and I know how much worse it can be, so nothing phases me. But I won't lie to you and tell you that the world is going to get better or that I got some huge epiphany out of it. My only epiphany is that ending yourself is fucking stupid. Life's still hard. That won't ever change. Sometimes I wish I could say some happy platitude about how much more I appreciate every day, but I'd be lying if I said that was the case. You adjust, you move on. My life's probably similar to everyone reading this, but it's just as raw and ugly and real. But it's also exactly as fun and beautiful and batshit crazy. And I'm still around to live it. So I guess that's a plus. I definitely say that if it's one thing in my entire life that I had to do over, I'd change. I'm not sure who gave me gold, but I appreciate it. If anyone else is considering it, I'd prefer if you'd spend the money on a charity that helps with these issues, or donate to Child's Play or Doctors Without Borders. An ex of mine. It's a long story, but she still haunts my dreams. While we don't talk anymore, we did clear the water a couple years ago, and I got closure mostly. So I'm not going crazy over her. But a part of me will always miss her. She's a hole in my heart that I carry proudly, as weird as that sounds. I'd like to add, as I totally missed the point of the question, was that I regret the way the relationship went and not her. She's the best thing that ever happened to me, and I'll never forget her. Thanks to everyone who replied and passed their stories and advice. It really makes me knowing that I can be some help, and knowing that there are people out there that are strong and willing for a change. Everyone, don't give up. Keep this in mind. In the depths of winter, I discovered that within me existed an invincible summer. I've quoted this to a couple people, but I wanted more people to read it. Life can be hard and unforgiving, but we all have the strength to make it through the day, even if we don't know it. As proven here today, we are not alone. Now go give that cutie at the coffee shop your number, or just go meet someone. You'll never know what will happen until you try. Everybody has regrets in life. Some people won't admit it, or some people just haven't got to the point. I feel like you have to be some type of sociopath to not have regrets, because that's what we do as humans. We make mistakes, we fall, and we get up. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your day and God bless.